Welcome to the Music Business Show. This podcast is sponsored by themusicbusinessschool.com. Now, let's talk business.
Thanks a lot for everything. I really appreciate it. I think I really believe into this white website thing. I want to give freedom to the teachers, instructors to be able to teach whatever they want, whatever they feel, and be, I don't want it to be like a strict, rigid school as other schools, like with all education system, ministry, and all that pushes in some sort of directions. I really think the best people to teach music and music business is people who believe in it, who are actually who are actually really part of it, and they really want to succeed. And they're working hard every day to make things happen. And they don't do things because the Ministry of Education tells you now you have to turn left, so I'm going to turn left, right? So
we share the same view.
Cool.
There's so many things within. I have friends who have doctorates in music and music education, and it's like they approach music, I feel like, from the wrong standpoint. When music's one of those, even though it's a science, it still comes down to cultural and being the passion to play music.
Yeah.
Unlike engineering, which I studied, or project management, which is much more of a science, or cost, or financial, which is a real science. It's based off, profit and losses, the understanding of revenue systems. Music is the same kind of science, but it is also based off of what is being requested for. And I feel like the teachers that I've had the pleasure of studying with, Hal Galper, a great jazz piano player, Charles Buntig, a great jazz piano player who played with Michael Franks and incredible, and to classical composers from Laura Kaminsky to different people in Manhattan School of Music. Their mindset was, I feel like, was structured in the education rather than in the sound itself. What is really the music? I feel like sometimes education can get in the way of music in its own right. And I'm definitely on the same page as you. People want to love music. People want to make music, but it's, I feel like just for them to have the understanding of the fundamentals, which I rely on, is so important. Why people think they, can't do something. It's, or do they want to do something, but they don't understand how to do something. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. And also I think, the greatest music creators of all time are musicians who actually tried something different. They don't follow the rules, So you can learn everything like formal education, music-wise or music business-wise. The one that's going to actually succeed is the one that's going to break the barriers, the one that's going to kick the doors. It's the one who's going to go there and say, hey, they tell me not to do this, but let's try it. Maybe it's going to work, And I think this is one way of being creative as well. You can be creative by writing music, but you can be creative in a way you manage your art, right?
Yeah.
So
no, you're totally right. It's just like, you're totally right. What I heard from one of I got to speak to and meet Michael Bivins from Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yeah,
the legendary R&B band. Poison, like New Kids on the Block. I could go on and on with them. One of Puff's mentors, actually. It's like, he's incredible. What they told me when I got to speak to him, really cool guy, Michael Bivins. He said, whenever somebody is going, the way I look at music is that everybody's going one way. I just try and swerve a little right to them, and just try and avoid the stream. That's what music is, and that's what success is, and that's the success that I've seen from like working with the successful people that I have, is that everybody is going one way, and they just find a way around them. And those are the musicians that I want to work with. Those are the musicians that inspire me to keep on doing it. Like people who don't have that, obviously, it's music. So, it's, you're given the grab. It's like, yeah, you want to try and sell records, but some records that a fan might love, might not be popular. But I think that's also the beauty of it. I'm also a musicologist, and I'm always listening to different musicians myself, and piano players, and people who inspire me to learn different ways. And it's, there's so many. It's a language. So it's like, if you learn the same things that everybody else is doing, I just don't understand how you can really be not successful, but how you can really make music for the right reasons. And it's like a lot of people get stuck up in like, trying to find a way and not really find themselves. Cluttering the market, and it's very...
Yeah, exactly.
And
finding yourself as a musician is one thing, and finding yourself in the market is something else. So you can be, you can have your own style. You can have your own, your own ways of creating music and all that. But the problem is, you have to fit in the market. so it's two different things. So you can discover yourself as an artist. Once you know that, great. You have to exploit it as much as you can, right? And the problem is to find the right market to push it in. Right, so major labels might not be interested. Major music publishers might not be interested because you're too new. They don't know what to do with you, right? So it takes more time into marketing and promotion. You got to build your own fan base and all that, and you have to work twice hard. So I think, I honestly think that the best way to do it is to do a lot of live performances nowadays, so you can get social medias to push your music, like YouTube and Instagram and everywhere. You know them all, right? So it works, of course, but there's nothing like going on stage, performing, meet people face to face. They discover your music. They can feel the sound, but they can feel you. They can, live performances will help a lot of artists that would have their own niche, to build their own fan base. Once the fan base is there, I think the label and investors might be more interested, right? That's a big difference between, I don't know, like 20 years ago, before the internet era.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's like the way I see it, but it really comes down to what a niche is. A niche is a niche, I listen to a lot of jazz musicians, actually. And, most successful jazz musicians have their own sound. And they're all playing the sophisticated music that's not very popular, but it's very, very beautiful and complicated. And it's based off the understanding that they practice the fundamentals every day, whether it's Winston Marsalis practicing this trumpet, and not really understanding the styles of music before he's able to take those same arrangement styles and apply that for his big band. Or, whether it is, or whether it's guys like Chris Potter, who are such a technician saxophonist, but yet he's able to use his own sound as a saxophone and push the limit of what jazz saxophone is, or Brad Beldell. I mean, even though these guys are very popular, but still, like, what they're doing with their talent as a piano player, as a saxophonist, I think is more inspirational than necessarily a rapper or a producer just trying to make another trap beat, and it's, and it's really discouraging, because technology makes it so easy just to put it up. But I mean, people don't understand the fundamentals to really do so, and they think they could take the steps to avoid it, when realistically, if the fundamentals are that's where you can find your niche. Before I got into production, I was playing in cover bands. I was playing everybody else's song before I started writing my own song, because I knew what those fundamentals were going to help me get to the next level that I needed to do. And it's like, that's what I cared about. I mean, I don't listen to everybody's music. I try and listen to the people that really are doing something totally different. Yeah. Not trying to bend in, and that's what people want. They don't want the same. They don't want to hear somebody who sounds like somebody else. Same thing with songs. They don't want to hear a song that sounds like something else.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the main problems with radio stations nowadays, right? Everything sounds the same. It sounds the same everywhere.
I don't think so. I think that's the problem with today's music. I don't think it's radio stations. Some radio stations are playing some of the greatest classic music. I mean, it's. Yes, the pop, I think it's just the pop style of today, with everybody wanting to make this kind of music and not really understand why they're making this kind of music. It's like everybody wants to rap like this, but they don't understand why they do it. They don't understand the history. And it's like, the thing is, a lot of the songs that I have are a couple of years old, and it's like they're still not released, and it's like,
yeah, well, when about radio stations, I think that's a big difference maybe between Montreal, where I live, and New York City, where you live. I think you have plenty of a lot of options over there that we don't have here. We do have some good radio stations for sure, but we also have the language situation where some stations are strictly French and some stations are strictly English, and some are a little bit of both. And maybe, I don't know, do you have a lot of Spanish radio stations over there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really listen to radio stations more so. I mean, I only listen to like underground hip hop because it's like for me that's really where the music is, what I'm aspiring to do
Mm-hmm.
is like so that's going and that goes directly to the artists themselves. But it's like I mean, it's like again, it's like it's different. With Spotify and the rise of the independent artists, it's a different kind of thing. I mean, yes, radio stations or something, but I mean, it's again, it's like I feel like people aren't willing to really showcase who they are, and they want to be trying to be like somebody else, which I don't really think is suiting anybody's purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean, I listen to a lot of French hip hop actually from France, and it's like it's cool to hear the influence of the American sound, and it's great to hear the hip hop stuff. But it's like I feel like the artists that I really can like relate to, like the M Solar, like the what's his name M Solar is great. I mean, MC Solar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jamiroquai. I mean, even though they're those jam bands, but I mean, what's Me Gustas too. I forgot the guy's name. Me Gustas I mean, so it's like the guys who really are staying true to themselves are the ones that I want to listen to.
Yeah.
The ones who wanting to do things that are too complicated or do things too. Trying to put people down, trying to put people up. It's like, and I mean, it's like, I mean, I'm not into a business or any relationships with people like who want to, either not help me or not support me, whatever, or like, tell me whatever, because it's like, it seems like they want to do that for themselves and they want to get, something above somebody else. And it's like, that's the problem with this whole entire world is that, in New York, people are so competitive. And they don't want to help you. And it's like you really have to stand yourself apart and just show that you're still doing it,
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, luckily I do have supporters and luckily I do have friends. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, I mean, it's some people, are jealous.
Yeah.
Most people, I think, are jealous of where I am in my career. And they don't see it as the fact. It's jealousy. I'm not, why be jealous if I'm going to help you? And that's why I'm really excited to teach, because it's like I wanted to show people that I use these same techniques that really are focusing on the fundamentals of music.
Yeah.
They're really what is music, rather than trying to sound like this, trying to go this, trying to be this, trying to be that, and really show that that's the really thing that you really should care about. If you box yourself in and trying to make, trying to be like this guy, like, I mean, I just don't get it, man. Like, honestly, like, I mean, it's cool that you might have some cool fans, but it's like, I personally don't get it. And it's like, I don't want to work with somebody like that. The people that I respect all are the same way. They're all staying true to themselves, and they're always 100% real with me. 100%. They're not trying to tell me what to do. They're not trying to put me into box or this. They respect me, and I respect them, and we work together. That's the point. That's the beauty of music. And we're not from the same place. Like, some of my great friends are from, like, different sides of the world, and we have such great relationships and and successful partnerships, and it's like, because I stay true to myself as a musician. I was a great piano player, and I knew that, the hip hop guys respected me as a piano player and keyboardist first, because they saw that I respected producers and I was respecting of their culture, and I used my technique and talent as a keyboardist to really, to really get, to start working with them. I was always making my beats. Sometimes the beats weren't as good, but I was still working with them. And, luckily I had the training and the preparation to really, help them stand out, which really, is staying a little less compared to everybody who's on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. The beat, because it was all based in the music, and those are the most successful people I've ever worked with. And they're, Action Bronson, he when I worked on Mr. Wonderful with him, he didn't want to make a record that sounded like an album that sounded like anybody else. He really took the artist and he really wanted to make music. He loved Pink Floyd. He loved real musicians, the Grateful Dead. He loved, the Allman Brothers. He loved, a lot of the same influences for me. And he was like, you know what? I mean, it's, you love the keyboards. And he was like, I want you just to play keyboards. And I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. And he gave me a keyboard solo,
yeah.
With this really, really rare band from fusion band from the 70s that we found a sample of. And, it's really refreshing to hear people like that. And it's like, I feel like people don't really want to take those risks or don't want to do the knowledge don't understand the knowledge to do so. And I feel like it's just hurting themselves, and it's like they think they have all the answers when, they might not. And they don't want to see somebody who they thought they were better than win. And it's not about being better. It's about playing to your strengths. If you are a great musician, if you're a musician, if you want to make music, you have to be a musician. Then because that's what only will get you better. If you want to be a songwriter, you have to learn songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like the basics, the fundamentals. It's like those are what as a record producer and songwriter, I learn songs. If there's a song that I wanna that I'm so amazed by from the success of, like the Sucker recently, I really want to learn it. I want to know why they did what they did, so I could do the same thing myself.
Yeah.
So it's like
I had a conversation with Steve Pajot, record producer, and he was telling me that he could spend hours and hours just listening to Michael Jackson's track, and every time he listens to Michael Jackson's track, he always finds new things every single time he listens to it. He goes back to the basics, because for him this is his base. So
exactly.
He listens and listens and yeah. So how do you plan on teaching it? Because you'll be teaching this class on.
For sure.
Yeah. So how do you plan on teaching it?
Well, I think I'm going to do. I think I don't. I mean, I have to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a demonstration class myself, like on video, as well as create the I think for the first lesson, just like looking at the drums or something, or just the first basic lesson, seeing which ones. I sent my lesson proposal to a couple of other teachers I know, and hopefully they emailed you, and seeing what their thoughts are. They're all great musicians, and they have such great foundations, found fundamentals, and they're all about the fundamentals, the jazz musicians,
Yeah.
And it's like, so I have to see what they think as first. I have a couple different producers that I want a producer who will be interested in studying with me, and other people as well. So I want to see what they think of the lessons, the first lessons, the lessons first, because there's a lot of concepts there. I might want to start with the track list concept, and how about what really music is. I feel like, people lose track about what music is, but it's like instead of trying to be better than the 40,000 other people, it's not about being better than other people in music. It's about being you. Yeah. Being you, so you really find yourself compared to everybody else who you're inspired by.
It's a big challenge right there.
That's the reason to make it. If you don't have those actions, if you don't have that attitude, I just don't think you'll be very easy to work with, and you won't have the right mindset to really go into it. If you're thinking about me, and it's all you, and it's like you think your project's gonna make it, cool. I don't care, because I like everybody. Why? So and it's like that's the way I look at things. And it's like, yes, you want to make money, you want to do this, but this is why you also have to think about outside the box and other investments that are a little more secure. Project management skills that you can learn from production can be applied to, other industries, besides just music. And it's like, again, those basics of just understanding what is needed are so important, It's like, and that's why, so that's what I'll focus on realistically. Is like, for me, I'll just focus on like the first lesson, and then just demonstrate, how that lesson, send it over to you as a private link, and then just take it from there. Including PDFs like you have created for the concert promotion, which is really, really well done. Really inspiring stuff already. So
it's a great opportunity for the students, they have access to people like you to teach them the know-how, and, from a real musician's perspective, it's not from a book telling you how to do. It's an actual person, a human being, a great musician, who can tell you what to do, or, to have this mindset shift, because you said that keyword a little earlier. You said mindset, and I agree with that. It's all about mindset. At the end of the day, it's all about mindset. If you have the right mindset, you'll succeed. Simple.
Exactly. If you have the wrong mindset, it won't take you to places that you want to go. And it's like, you have to, it is all about mindset. For my mindset, it's all about quality, consistency, and keep on doing it. And keep on doing it is the third key. If I don't have another client, if I don't have somebody who wants to work with me privately, I'm doing a remix contest, and I have to apply for a remix contest and a label. I mean, I'm always pushing myself into different directions that I can do myself. Or, right now it's like I like collaborating with different private people because I own the record. I have 100% control of the song itself. That's how I do it. So it's like the more individual songs I have, the more potential I have as an artist. So it's like, but before I got to this position, I was remixing so many other people's records to try and, to just work on my own craft and to really get better at my quality and my practice. It's like, I think that's the way, you have to do it. Again, it's like if it's a balancing act. You want to make music for yourself, but you want to make music for quality. And it's like, but the more music that you're getting to your own stuff, the more labels are interested. That I just got a interest from a Russian label that wants to work with me, and I think this would be great for international collaboration, in Russia rather than work with an American label. A great jazz label that wants to work with me, and that's established, which is really cool. And just, people who want to work with me because they really see how much time I invested in and how serious, but also my knowledge of what I'm doing. And that's the most important thing. It's like I'm not only showcasing, I'm not trying to say that I'm better than somebody. I want to help somebody because I feel like these tools could be so important for making their music better, which they care about in the end of the day, rather than some guy showing you what to do with EQ or some guy trying to waste your time and waste your money saying that his way is writing the song to better. It's like, I wouldn't want to discourage people or try and be a charlatan, say what you will, but I mean, off the culture, off the people, because that's not what music is for. Music is a business, but the business is in getting the music licensed to public companies who will use your music as advertising. That's where the money should be made, And the public companies that are going public off the backs of streams, with creating a system that is very, very convoluted with the publishing, this guy, that guy. It's just not a system where a better system that I feel like could be better for doing so. But the thing is, I need the way to really make that heard is by showing people that I'm here to work with them and showing that like my knowledge is, I'm here to share my knowledge, and it's like, for everything that I've done, I want to be able to, showcase that for another person and inspire a next generation, and there's going to be people who are, some of my friends, some of the people are a little jealous of the fact that I'm doing this, and some of the people are not. But the ones who are jealous, I show them ways that why these techniques are so important for what you're looking for. Whether, what is the warmth of a record? What do you want your songs to really sound like overall? What can you learn from all these different genres of music that I've studied? Classical music, Johann Sebastian Bach, the arrangement of Beethoven, the melodic development of Beethoven. It's such a beautiful study. Quincy, before we get into pop music, we go into jazz music. George Gershwin, the arrangements, the songs, the catalog of songs, and his attitude towards making music. Before we get into arrangement, how Quincy Jones studied with Count Basie and Duke Ellington, and traditional jazz arrangements. Such a beautiful form and such a great understanding about how those specific the brass really work together. The brass and saxophone really work together. 20 people arranging a band for 20 people. It's to now. But when I'm working on modern records, I'm thinking about all these different studies that I've studied, by transcribing, different people, or by really understanding the analysis of a song, why it works. So important, and it's like, I feel like people want to go to step C rather than taking the steps to do so, or try and leech off somebody who's done that. And it's not, with age of technology, age of transparency, I feel like, this is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and
you agree?
And I think too that one of your strengths, from what I feel too, is that you have a background in classical music and a background in jazz music. I know some musicians that comes from a classical background, and the only thing they think about is classical. Or jazz people, the only thing, sometimes they're all into the jazz, but in your case, I mean, you know both, right? So I guess that influences the way you create music and the way you arrange music and the way you produce music, right? Because you have the perspective of both world. Because this is both world. You can spend all of your life studying classical music or all of your life studying jazz music, right? But you how did you manage to study both and make a whole with this?
Because luckily growing up in New York, I was practicing Beethoven. I was very, very, very talented when I was very young. Junior high school, I was playing Beethoven sonatas and really playing like some really incredible Gershwin. I started even getting into Gershwin piano stuff. And it's like, but at the same time, all my friends would be listening to Eminem. So I was like, and then I would get like frustrated because I made a mistake on classical music, and I didn't want to. I wasn't the kind of guy to like really focus on the mistakes. I wanted to go on, So I heard the simplicity of the rock musicians and Coldplay, but the beauty of the songs and the way that Eminem's record, Marshall Mathers LP, came out and affected every single person, all my friends at the time, and it's like, but at the same time, I was like, I was into Miles Davis and the Beatles and this and that, and it's like, I don't look at it as different. I look at them as, something to learn from Bach, something to learn from Beethoven, something to learn from Bill Evans, something to learn from Herbie Hancock, something to learn from Miles Davis, and something to learn from, Easy M.O.B., something to learn from DJ Premier, something to learn from Jay Dilla, something to learn from, David Guetta, like something to learn from Stargate. Miles Davis changed his sound 8 times, and he did classical music. The Sketches of Spain is such beautiful music. Every single record that he did, even like doo-wop that he did with Easy M.O.B., it's like he went from classical music to hip hop, and he was always trying to make music that appeals to the people, but using his language and knowledge of bebop to really, and the purity of that music to really go for what he wanted. Switching out his band for each individual leader, it's like from Bill Evans and Coltrane to, Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea and like Keith Jarrett and like all these incredible musicians, and Joe Zawinul, like pushing the limit of just trying to make jazz music appeal to rock fans by making sketches, by making style in a silent way, and bitches brew. Like he loved Jimi Hendrix. He wanted his trumpet to sound like Jimi Hendrix, and he never spoke. He never sang. Like that's my approach. That's my approach. That's why I look at it all the same. It's like I just want to look at it for as quality as possible. I'm not saying this is this and this is that. I mean, I don't look at it that way. I look at them all the same, and I feel like it's a strength. I feel like I want to. I try and influence people to think that way, and they always get mad. But it's like I'm not here to disrespect. I mean, I'm just here to help them. I feel like and that's why I feel like teaching might be the best way for somebody, because they could trust that I have knowledge of a specific art form, but I'm not, I'm not looking at it as a specific art form or specific song. I'm looking at it as just the process, as the beauty of an artist, of making music, of a musician. This is what a musician should do. Film scoring is the hardest one because it combines it all, and it's like you want to be able to have that knowledge in order to make the music for media realistically. That's where the real money is going to be made. So I don't look at it, and and that's my attitude. It's like every single project that I try and be on, I have that same attitude of making that as quality as possible, in respect to what Miles did.
Hey, Cas, this was a very nice conversation with you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can feel that your class is going to be amazing for one thing, but also that you're an amazing musician, and I really like your mindset. I think the students will really benefits from learning from you, someone who's working full time in the music business, who's creating music, who's not afraid of getting in the bottom of his heart to put the music out there. That's one thing. This is how I feel you. So, so thanks a lot. We'll talk a little later.
Yeah.
And this was very nice of you to take a few minutes to talk with me today for the Music Business Show.
Same here. Thanks a lot, Dominic, for your time and the opportunity. I'm really looking forward. And I'm looking forward to the Beat Fest as well. So keep me posted regarding that.